Hi, everybody. So we're here today just for you guys. So just kind of a ask us anything kind of session. So you can go ahead and unmute yourselves and or throw something into the chat and we can just answer any kind of questions. If you have technical questions or running a school administrator questions, just to kind of throw out there, we can just kind of take it from there. That's why we're here today.
All right, well, I'll begin. Hi, I'm Liza. Camilla, I had texted you, emailed you yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm new to computers. This is like a new language to me. Anyone that ever came in my office would say to me, "Where's your computer?" I've been in the school 49 years. I never had a computer. So I started when we started Zooming in March, but someone set me up to get into the Nido town halls, but I actually have no idea. I pressed that same button in my favorites, and that's how I don't know how to get into Nido. I don't know how to get into Thrive. My password doesn't work. So I don't know if anybody else has any of these problems, but that's where I am.
Okay, well, so you probably have, I don't know, maybe Maisel, you can check while we're talking here, where Liza's membership is in Simplero. My guess is you have a First Plane membership.
I think so.
And did you ever register for Montessori Thrive?
Yes, I did.
Specifically.
And I pay the $29 or whatever each month. So I do, but okay. When the info initially came, I didn't do it because we're a small school that started with 150 kids. We're sitting on 50 children. And so we're doing everything ourselves. We're trying to stay alive. So I work all day long. I was still on a Zoom meeting last night at 10, and now I'm trying to get the kids into high school. So I didn't watch it, and now I don't know what to do.
Okay. So you haven't been to Montessori Thrive at all?
No.
To look at it. Okay. Well, what we can do is just, I think probably the best thing is maybe offline. Well, maybe we should do it right now. I can share my screen and show you how to log in, and maybe it'll be helpful for others. And then you'll have to go through some introductory videos. We try to make it really clear how to use Thrive, and we can just do that. And it just take about 5 minutes here. So I will.
See, the other thing that I wanted to do is I used to be able to watch every town hall, and then you moved it, I guess, to Thrive, and I have no idea how to get in to rewatch something which I had wanted to watch. There's a couple that I really wanted to see again. So I'm sure most people are in better shape than I am.
Right. So let me, okay. So I am going to, sorry, I should have been a little more ready for this, but I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so does everybody see Thrive now, Montessori Thrive?
Mm-hmm.
You guys see that? Okay, great. So, and I'll just get rid of my little picture here. So you go to montessorithrive.com, and if you click on sign in right here, it's going to bring you to my.montessorithrive.com. So if you've never gone here before, you must have to sign up. Did you went through this a little bit, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
But when you first log in, you're going to be directed to these in videos, which really show you how to navigate and go through Montessori Thrive. So you just click on, complete your profile, and play this video and it'll show you exactly how to do that on Thrive. And you just work your way through these videos. Once you're done, like I've already gone through this, but say this one isn't set. So you watch it and then you mark it complete when you're done. And as you go through, it's going to give you access to the collection up here. So let's say you've gone all the way through it and you're here. So once you complete all those introductory lessons, then you'll see these menu items up here. And if you click on collection, this is where all of the items for Montessori Thrive live. And what we've done is to try to make them, organize them topically. So there's a lot of courses here. Everything that used to be on Nido marketing site in terms of courses and white papers and all of that, we've pulled over here now to Thrive. So right here at the bottom, town hall recordings. I just clicked on that and they are all here with the most recent one first, and then they work their way back, and they are all here all the way back to last spring when we first started doing them.
And I saw every one of them.
Oh, good. Yeah, I know. I see you on them. So that's great. Are there any other specific questions?
Well, I guess at this point I did try to get in, but I guess you would have to reset my password because the password that I was given initially doesn't work.
Yeah, we can work with you on that.
Okay.
And send you, I don't know if Maisel, are you in her record or you, I know.
Yeah. What I can do now is I can trigger a password reset, so it will
So
send her
it'll
an
just,
email. Mhm.
right. Yeah,
Okay.
so we can do that. All right.
Okay, we'll try to do that.
All right, you should have received the password reset instructions.
Oh, well, that means I have to sign off of this in order to get there, right? I have to look at my emails, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay, yeah.
I'll lose this. This is hard. Sometimes I lose it and then I can't get back in. So
Yeah.
I'll let everybody else go on with things that they want to talk about.
Yeah. And if you have any trouble with Thrive, you can contact Camilla.
Yes.
Which I did
So-
yesterday, and we reached out and she said to come in today and see if we can work through this.
Great. Okay.
Well, thank you
Awesome.
kindly.
Yeah, you're welcome. So Carmita is asking, has re-enrollment season for the 21-22 season started for everyone? How's it going? Anyone contemplating including remote programs indefinitely? Any input on that? I know the school that I'm still associated with is starting re-enrollment for next year now. They are not doing remote learning and haven't done remote learning all fall. So I think that they are hoping that they don't have to do remote learning next year, next fall, but who knows? Anyway.
We are doing re-enrollment. I am not offering remote learning. And I have not, we opened June 22nd and have not, it's there as a backup for my elementary, middle school, and high school unit if we have to go in, but I actually, for the rest of them, I built extra weeks in and told the parents, if we have to shut down, I will send you information, but we will make those weeks up. I am not going through that one more time. Unless, we're looking for months and months, but we're in Massachusetts and it doesn't look like they're going to shut us. From what I'm getting from the Board of Health, they aren't planning on shutting us down unless we are in some major trouble. So if we had a case here and we had to shut down for the week, we'll make it up, but I do not want to go to remote, and no way am I even entertaining that for next year. And I am techno savvy and there is no way I'm going through that again.
it seems like with, well, who knows, but with the vaccine and everything coming out, and, you know, I think we're all hopeful, I know I am, that, that by at least the end of the summer, that, you know, things will have a different view of the world at that point. And, you know, I think if we're not closed now, then it would be hard to think that we would be in the fall, but I don't want to jinx it either. So,
See, I'm in Brooklyn, New York, and we opened for about 4 weeks initially in September, and then we were considered red zone. Right now, they've allowed us to stay open, but at this point, we're about at 11% in the actual area where we are. So when we got the red zone, they closed us down for 5.5 weeks. There was no reason for us to be closed. We were doing a really good job, but the mayor and the governor decided we had to close. So you never know. 5.5 weeks is already, there's no way that I'm making that up into the summer or whatever. So we have been going back and forth with virtual. So I don't know. At any one moment, they talk about closing us down. So it's been hard.
yeah.
I did a poll on this in the Facebook group asking like how many people are going remote, and I think out of I think just over 30 schools responded and only 3 are doing remote learning. I think the majority are trying just to be back fully on campus learning. That's what the outcome was, so I'm not sure. I think it'll just depend on how the next few months go with the vaccine as well. Be interesting to see.
Yeah, and Camilla, you're there in the UK, which is on complete lockdown right now.
Yeah, we're completely locked down over here. All the schools are shut through mid-February, but I think it's a bit I think the difference here is it's not like divided into different states, so it's like one rule for the whole country. I think in the US it's really down to even your city, like New York City, like Liza was saying, has a lot of restrictions that other places might not have to deal with. So it just depends on where you are, I think.
It's not only the city, it's not only Brooklyn. It was 3 areas that we were part of, and other areas were left open. So it was very hard to know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to share, we adjusted class sizes for the school year to reduce and have been fully open for this school year. But as we do start to look at re-enrollment for fall, I feel like it's too early to have any idea what fall will look like. And so we're going to be re-enrolling at the reduced class size number. And then if by July things look really good, we can add in. But that just seems the smoothest path for us, given the knowledge that we have now. And you know, I'm located in Western New York, so I have the same zones that Liza's talking about, but you know, the other end of the state. But yeah, the rates are high and there are too many unknowns. So for my own sanity, I decided to just replicate what we're doing now for fall until something changes.
I have a question about your reduced class size in primary or early childhood. Do you still have all 3 age ranges in each of those classes? And what did you reduce your numbers to?
So I did kind of a weird thing, I guess. In a normal year, we would have had 3, 4, and 5-year-olds for the morning, and then our 5 stayed for the afternoon. So we typically would have between 25 and 30 mixed age students in the morning, and then afternoons were much more like, say, 10.
Yeah.
So I actually moved the 4-year-olds to an afternoon program this year. So in the morning we have 3 and 5-year-olds, and then in the afternoon we have 4 and the same 5s. So I was able to retain a little bit of the mixed age and still allow a higher number of total students in the class. So at any given time, there are no more than 15 in the room, but the total population is closer to 22. So it helped reduce class size, but also maintain some budget income because I could still have the students. And it has worked really well for us.
I'm in North Carolina. We reduced our class size to 15 children or less. And when we did that, we were really concerned initially about having enough kindergartners in a group. So we moved from 4 classrooms of 22, 24 children of all 3 ages to 6 classrooms. And we had 3 classrooms with 3 and 4-year-olds and 3 classrooms with 4s and 5s. We had enough 4s to spread them around. I pulled from my weight pool and added some 4s to bring in those numbers a little bit. And as I look towards next year, it's my hope to increase that number by just enough to return to having 3s, 4s, and 5s in the class. With that big number of 4s, I'm hoping to retain them and be able and still have, 6 kindergartners in a class. That's a good size group. But really return to that 3-year span. Those classrooms with 3s and 4s, one of them's done pretty well. One of them, we just had a half day. They've done fine. The other one with our full-time group, it's been some challenges. They need those older peers to kind of keep them in line. So
Yeah.
That's been a big challenge for me because I heard what you said. Yeah, I'm planning to have the structures look just like they do. I mean, our elementary classrooms are 15 children with 1 teacher. And those teachers are struggling to teach by themselves. They are used to having a partner, a teammate. So, but we also are right now, we're working on re-enrollment. We send it out to our families in February and are trying to make those decisions about how much can we change in the next month with what we know today. And it's like you, I think very, very little that we are probably going to be making all the same assumptions for next year. By the way, we have offered remote learning. We started the school year with 15% of our population in remote learning. It's now down to 10%. Many of them returned to campus. But 10% of our population has remained in remote learning since August. We had 1 toddler family opt for it, and they've loved what we've done. It's been pretty minimal, but they've been very happy. We've had a few primary students, and then most of them are in, honestly, are in lower and upper elementary, are the majority.
We are re-enrolling, keeping our numbers the way they are now. So we're doing the same. My classrooms are actually big enough here to be licensed for 30 to 35. We standardly keep them at 20, but during this point right now, we have them scheduled for 15. State says 18, but probably 15. I will re-enroll at those. Unfortunately, we actually have a whole empty classroom that just never filled this year. Because we have a lot of families that are too scared. So just like everybody else, so we combined down. And what we did was I did a 3, 4, and 5-year-old classroom. And then, because we normally do our kindergarten pullout also, but we did a 3, 4, 5, and then a 4, 5, 6. So that's how we came up with those 3 years, but by still kind of shifting so that the kindergarten 5 and 6-year-olds were kind of put in a separate area, and given that kind of extra step, but giving my 4-year-olds that were really the kids that were on task that either had been here since toddlers and were kind of ready for that extra to, kids that just in general, I've got a kindergartner who studies organic chemistry with my high school class. So, so we moved them, and some of my young kindergartners, I had talked to the parents and said, hey, do you mind them being role models for 1 more year instead of going on to our 1st grade unit? And I bring that material in and we'll have them here. And so that worked for us this year. And it was just kind of a tie-in way to hold it. It's not the ideal situation, but it's better than. And then we did with the younger, because 3-year-olds obviously with the older class would have been tougher because I was more afraid of, we have a STEM and that kind of stuff. I was afraid they'd eat things or just because we do put in more challenging work for our kindergartners. So we kind of modified it that way. And as for somebody asked, just if I could answer, somebody asked about changing buildings. I did this 3 years ago. Same thing, had to increase, went from just a few $1,000s to many $1,000s, and was looking at it going, how do I do this? How do I make this happen financially? And we did. We increased by 2.5%. I think actually I did a 3.5%, but if people guaranteed me a year around instead of a 10-month payment schedule for the first year, they only got a 2.5%. So they saved a 1%. And that abs, and then started the new people at the higher rate. And that did work. Just from my view, somebody had put that on there as a question. I just happened to go to answer one other thing and saw that and went, oh yeah, we did that. We played that game. So good luck. I don't remember who put it down, but yes, we've been there.
Stephanie, I just want to keep going through the chat here. People are putting questions in, which is great. Stephanie, do you want to ask your question, or should I read it? I'll read it. And she said, I'm struggling with enrollment at the moment. I don't know how to get our former parents back to the school. Many are still scared because of the pandemic. How is everyone handling this? That's, you know, you're not the only one. I think that any mitigation that you have done in your school, it's really important to highlight that. If you have any special, you know, air cleaners or things in the physical environment, I know that that's something that parents are looking for. So something to try to reassure them that you are taking steps to minimize any, you know, minimize risk, even though it's really hard. Do you have an email list that are you staying in communication with them and letting them know that you're, you know, just that you're still there, and, you know, kind of just checking in with them and seeing what their plans are? That would be my advice. I don't know if anybody else has anything.
I have, the school I formerly used to work at, the administrator there has been communicating with parents that she still has some parents who are a bit scared to bring their kids back to school, but really just communicating the fact of how important it is to socialize for young children. Because what she had experienced is after going, they were remote for a few months, and then when the students came back, it was a bit of a struggle for them to adjust. So the longer that you really kind of isolate the child to avoid the risks, you're actually, I guess, like taking their social interaction away, which is really important for their development. So I guess communicating that in a way that isn't too pushy, finding a way to do that. I know that's probably tricky. Like you don't want to step on anyone's toes and say, look, like you're putting your child's education at risk by just making them stay at home all day by themselves. It's a real struggle for them. But yeah, finding a way to communicate that is probably a good thing. I think that she had about 2 students in her class who just like were completely, the parents did not want them to be on campus. And I think she worked a way to do a remote learning thing for them, but she's really opposed to that. Like she's like, it's a lot of work, and to do it for 2 students to keep them paying tuition, it's just not worth the time. So she's still trying to get them to come back. So I guess it'll just be a matter of, yeah, when the vaccines are rolled out, unfortunately.
I would suggest possibly if you have some current families that might be mentors to some of the other families so that they can talk to them, you know, mom to mom, and understand what your process is. Because in general, what you're just trying to do is reduce somebody's anxiety and help them feel connected in a way that maybe they can hear it. And I think having ongoing communication with somebody who's actually living it at your school currently can help bring it more to life and ground them more instead of having this very abstract fear. Helping them ground themselves, I think would be helpful.
Yeah, that's helpful, Elizabeth. Yeah. So I was just looking at your question, since you're here, about raising tuition because of your new facility. And one thing that we did when it was a little different situation, we had realized that because of our third year primary students, really we're staying just as long as our elementary students. The day was the same, and so that we decided at 1 year to just pop up the tuition for those third year primary students, and it was a big jump to be the same as our elementary program. And we offered a like a special financial aid tuition assistance for families who were in that category for that year, so that they were able to kind of, it wasn't such a big jump for them all in 1 year. So maybe something along those lines. But ultimately, you're going to have to kind of raise tuition overall, probably. Is that? Yeah. I think laying it out, you know, having your, sorry, go ahead. Oh, you're muted. Wait a minute. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I thought I muted. That's what I was grappling with, was the current families versus future families. And then that would put me on a trajectory of having, for all of those current families, you know, and the siblings, then can span 10 years. So that's why I wasn't sure exactly how to handle all of that. But I do feel like the families that stayed current with us and are sticking with us through this time, you know, I'm so grateful to them, because they have put a lot of trust in us financially. So.
Do you have a, I mean, we used to have an annual meeting where we would kind of, we call it the state of the school meeting, where we would lay out the budget and finances for the next year or the next, and maybe just given that you know, you are offering more value, I assume, being in this new location. So I think what we found is what parents don't like are tuition surprises. So if, you know, you can let them know, this is the plan, this is how we're going, tuition's going to be going up 3% every year for the next X number of years, because we have to finance this new facility or whatever. But it, I guess that's just my point, is to, if you kind of lay it out to them, tell them why, show them your budget. I mean, most Montessori schools aren't, you know, raking it in, so it's not like you're trying to take advantage of these people at all. But to eliminate any surprises, so that they're not getting their re-enrollment, excuse me, contracts and saying, oh my gosh, tuition went up again, you know, to just set the expectation ahead of time. Yeah. Does anybody else have any experience with that? No, it is tricky. I know.
I was just going to mention, my school this year opted not to increase tuition because of the COVID. You know, we're spending more money getting all of the cleaning supplies and all of that, but every year we do increase our tuition about 1% to 2% just to match inflation. And so our parents are aware of that, and we've always made it clear about that. And then we're also on continuous enrollment too, so it just automatically renews their contract every year. And we do let them know what the tuition price is going to be when we send out new, kind of like a making you aware of what the tuition will be, so that they can have a chance to withdraw if it doesn't match their, you know, their budget.
Okay, thank you.
We're also on continuous enrollment. We send out their information in February, so they're aware of the increase and when their deposit will be charged. And we let them know if their plans have changed to let us know by a certain date. I think with any major increase beyond what you expect per year, just laying out for families the rationale, information about your new building or new facilities, whatever is causing the charge. I think you'll find that families really are more understanding than you might find or expect. And then opening up your financial assistance for a family that is in a hardship due to that big change, so that you don't lose that family, letting them know. And maybe that 1 year being a little bit more lenient with your financial assistance, just the way we have due to COVID. Those are just some ideas.
Andrea, you had, my biggest challenge is admitting new 3s and 4s. I usually do in-classroom visits for this age. Does anyone have any other models for assessment for fit at that age?
I'll just agree. This is absolutely the question on the table for us right now. How do you do tours? We used to interview kids. Like, how do you do that? So yeah, great question.
We do ours
And even
after
for
school.
older kids, the challenge with Montessori is even if I figure out where they are academically, if they can't manage themselves in a classroom, it's not going to work. It's not going to be a good fit. And I'm struggling with that too.
I always considered the interview more important for the older children than for like the 3s. They're pretty much always fine. You kind of want to get a sense of their personality and stuff, but because we used to do it I used to do it in groups. I know we can't do it now, but we used to have, groups of them come in and kind of all be in the classroom with all the teachers at once.
Mm-hmm.
And the parents would come in at the same time, and I was the admissions person, so I would go off and talk to the parents while the kids were in the classrooms with the teachers. This was an after school thing. So, but now you can't have anybody else in the building, right? Besides students. So.
No, I mean, the exception that we've made was some mid-year entries where we were, had enough information. We went ahead and did some in-person visits, and we had a lot of mid-year entries this year for January. But now, as I'm looking towards enrollment for next year, I used to do for 3s, if they were turning 3 in the winter or the spring, I would bring them in the afternoon and just do a 30-minute visit just to kind of get some eyes on the child and really more time with the family. But 4-year-olds, they'd spend a whole morning in our class and just get to see them around other kids. And I don't know, it's a challenge.
Yeah, I suppose meeting them off-site somewhere isn't really work too well. But if it's nice weather, maybe if you have an outdoor play area or something, maybe they could come, then you could not have them in the building, but at least get some eyes on them, as you say.
Yeah, and I did that in the summer. Kids who'd been waiting in the process and we finally were returning to the building, I brought them on site and just did an outdoor visit. With the kindergartners, I have been able to do virtual information and virtual assessment, and felt like I really reached clarity. Even on a student that ultimately we denied, it was very clear to me that it was not the right fit. I've also kind of done a tiered approach where we've tried to do what we could virtual, and then individual in person, and then we went ahead and did an in-class visit to make that final decision.
Yeah.
I just don't want to make that phone call to a prospective family that says your child visited and now has been exposed.
Right. Absolutely.
Or to our current families. We had a visitor who's let us know that they've, it's scary.
Yeah. How is it? Is anybody up? I guess that is kind of the question. Nobody has any.
We do ours in person, but I'm doing them after hours. And the teacher, I'm amazingly blessed by the staff that I have. That being said, I will be open in fairness. Half my staff is my family. I have one of my daughters runs the another primary classroom. There's myself, and then I guess those are the only two of us for those big rooms. But I have teachers that have been with me forever, basically. One of our toddler teacher's been with me for 30 years. My elementary teacher's been with me for 12, so we kind of all know each other well. But we have the kids, the staff stay later, clean the room down. We have a child come in. And we've been interviewing, it's kind of smaller, but we've always done our interviews small. We don't do them during the school day. With the kids, we tend to have, if we have 3 or 4 the same age, new, interesting, we have them all come in at one time, but we haven't ever put them in with our class. And maybe that's just because that's just never how I've done it before. So after school, and like or not like, I have a granddaughter who's 6. And she's stuck here because we're here. So often she is the other child in the classroom. They have to wear their mask. We do maintain the 6 feet and everything, but it gives another child to kind of bounce off of and see how she's going. The new child is going to interact. I mean, we've been maybe lucky. I've done it that way for years. Just had one-on-one, and we can watch. I think also after 40 years of experience, I get a fairly quick read if a child's going to work or not work. You kind of go, yeah, no.
No, the reason we do a whole morning visit with 4-year-olds is because they don't want to leave.
Yeah, and see,
that's a general idea pretty quickly.
That's the best thing. They come in. It's usually, I tell the parents, plan on 30, 40 minutes. And I say, can be shorter. We'll see how your kid goes. Because basically, if it looks like 10 minutes in and we're all wasting all of our time, we're very kind of quicker about it. And I love it because the ones who really are good and want to be here, and the parents really love it. I know you're so sad, but you'll be coming back soon when mommy and daddy get you ready. So they leave crying and knowing they want to be here. So we kind of made it where I read one yesterday that came in to do an interview after school hours, and her parents literally dragged her screaming out the door. They said, we'll be signing up sooner. They're waiting till September. They're actually turning in their applications to start in February because the kid went home and that's all they could talk about. So yeah, I mean, we've always done it that way. And maybe that comes also, I used to teach traditional and I used to do special ed. So we always had children interview one-on-one. So I just never changed it when I went to Montessori 17 years ago. We still just do one-on-one or small groupings. And this year we're just doing one-on-one, unless they're family friends. We had a case where 2 children that were family friends, the boys were playing together and shared a nanny, and we let them come in together. Figure they're already germy together.
Elizabeth, you have another question here. You said you don't give out tuition until a family has a tour. Some prospective families get really annoyed with this. Any suggestions to go with one or the other? Well, I have a suggestion. I think that you should give tuition information before the tour, but I think you should get their contact information first. So in other words, don't just make it available on your website, but make it available on your website if they fill out a form so that you have their contact information so that you can follow up with them. But I think that is a piece of information that parents will generally want to know before taking the time to tour, whether even if it's a virtual tour, because for some it might be a deal breaker, and it just kind of making it, maybe putting them in a tough, maybe embarrassing position if they don't already have that information up front. I don't know how other people feel about that. Yeah, I mean, and from a marketing perspective, which is where my head is now, that is the one piece of information that most parents will give their contact information out on your website in order to get. I know it was by far our greatest lead generator. So, and the nice thing about that is you've got their email, you've got their contact. You can start, and they might look at that tuition information and say, whoa, we can't do that. But then you start sending them emails explaining what Montessori is, the value of it, how it's different, all of the great things about Montessori over a series of emails. And then they may come to realize, like, wow, that is why this costs what it does. And the good thing is too, that as you use that to build up your email list, then, someday if we have open houses again or whatever, you want to just send out any kind of marketing, emails, you're building up that email list to get that, to send it out to more people. So, they might have a friend that might be interested too. So, anyway, that's my take. I think it's something that you shouldn't just give out to just anybody without getting some information from them first. But I feel like it is probably something that should be given out before a tour. Does anybody else have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I strongly agree. You don't want to waste your time touring with a family that really can't afford your school. And I do have it published on our website. It's a little bit hidden. You have to want to find it. On our tuition tab, I publish ranges. So it's anything from the half day to a kindergarten price range. And a lot of times that's really what people will find on our website, and it prompts them to call me or contact me, and then I can share more information. But I do feel like at least even that range, if a family is currently in a Head Start program and they're looking at our website, they're going to see how much we charge for tuition. Like the families need to know whether it's even an option.
I think that's a good idea for the range, because what I've found is when they don't understand all of the programs around us are, typical church preschool programs, and when they come in, then it's like, oh, wow. And I hate to divorce, all the different aspects to just that rudimentary money aspect when they really don't have an understanding of it, the full picture. But I don't want somebody to waste their time if they truly can't afford it. But if they can't afford it, but they really want to be here, I would still want to see them, to talk to them, to see how we can work with them, because I want them here too, if they really want to be here, even if they can't afford it. And I hate for them to just walk away without a conversation.
Yeah, and I think that's where you can strike that balance of getting their contact information so you can, share with them more details of their concerns about tuition. Because I agree that, our structure is very different from what people are finding in a daycare or church setting, where even though we offer a monthly payment plan, it's not paying tuition per month. It's paying the full tuition over the course of however many months. So there are always explanations that are needed because they're entering a school. I know it's not just a preschool, it's not just a daycare, they're entering school. And so that is, I find that's a point of education for new families.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything? I was just say, Elizabeth, when we get your website running, that we'll have that all ready to go. So I don't see any other questions in the chat. Did anybody attend the parent ed last night that we did? Or did anybody have any parents that did?
And unfortunately, it was the same night that we had our parent meeting.
Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, I will just say that I was so pleased with how it went. We had over 200 people register for this. And honestly, I went out and got a hardwire Ethernet connection because I was afraid that I didn't want the meeting to go awry in the middle with all those people on it. But Donna DeHustelaer did a fantastic job, just an introduction to Montessori. So this is available if you're a member of Thrive. Your parents are free to attend these parent eds, and we've done a series that is, Camilla put these together. We have 5 more. So the first one was kind of an introduction to Montessori. So it's kind of the underpinnings of what Montessori is, so that parents have a little bit of context about it. And then the next week's going to be focusing on infant and toddler, and the following week primary, and then after that elementary, and then we have one on adolescent, and then the last one is also just kind of an overview of everything. And 2 of the other presenters other than Donna were on the call last night, and it just was a really lovely conversation. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to let you know about that. Having done parent eds, and knowing how much work it is, and it's worthwhile work, but to just kind of augment that, I think is a nice thing for you to be able to offer. And anyway, if anybody's interested in finding out more about it, you can let us know. So
I'm incredibly grateful. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I just want to say how grateful I am for that. It made a huge difference for me to be able to offer prospective parents. I could see it like, wow, you're offering me this already? Like, thank you. Like, it was like, bam. Very cool.
Yeah, feel free to spread this out to your prospective parents as well, because it gives them an insight into the value of Montessori, and hopefully makes them more interested to sign their kid up for Montessori school. Because I mean, we had some parents ask amazing questions, and I think they got to hear from not only Donna, who was our main speaker, but from the other speakers as well, who are, Montessorians with 20, 30 or more years of experience, who have so much wisdom to share. And for your parents to come and learn from them, I think for free, it's at no cost to them, and if they can't make the live meetings, the recordings are available on Thrive, so you can always share them with prospective parents or current parents. Because I think a parent that really understands the value of Montessori, they're going to be your lifelong ambassadors. They're going to always speak highly of your school, and I think spread the word of Montessori.
yeah, and as Camilla mentioned, the parent series is free for those of you who have Montessori Thrive memberships. It's free for you to give to your parents if you have a Montessori Thrive membership. So that was, Kathleen had that question. Kelly, I was sent a free CRM a while back. I can't figure out how to access it.
Camilla and I have kind of been chatting on Thrive. I was using another admin's account, Natasha. Yes, she's our associate head, and I'm the admissions director / one of the elementary guides. But I'm trying to figure out admissions while I'm doing also teaching, so it's been kind of crazy. But trying to look up, email nurturing, how to use MailChimp with that. But you had mentioned the CRM, and I remember being sent a free one, and I just went back to my email. One of the link doesn't work anymore. So I was wondering if there's another way for me to access the CRM.
So we are offering the CRM through Thrive now. So if you had a Thrive membership, then you can get to the CRM. The free CRM is...
I do have a Thrive membership.
Okay.
And I do have the free one, which was on my account, but I know my admin account also has the Thrive. They're paying for the Thrive. So how do I access it through there?
Yeah, I haven't put the link on Thrive yet, so I
Oh,
have to
okay.
do that.
No worries.
So it's still part of the migration from Nido over to Thrive. So the whole like free first plane
Mhm.
membership has kind of gone away now for Nido
Okay.
marketing. I don't know, Maisel, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you want to give like a quick little overview of the free CRM? I don't know if you have a screen set up to do that.
Yeah, let me just check here.
For those of you who don't know, Maisel is our client manager extraordinaire. So he helps everybody with all of their technical questions.
And while you're pulling that up, Camilla, I was also talking to you about communicating with parents after the interview. And so I'm giving virtual tours, but I also have 3 other people who are helping me give tours, and they're not always giving the same information that I'm giving. So I do try to give kind of like a schedule of what the admissions process will look like. And we're trying to get back to prospective families by March 5th of, whether they're accepted or denied or waitlisted, because we're giving our current families until March 1st to let us know if they're withdrawing or coming back. So how do I communicate that in an email that doesn't just sound like, hey, just, sit back and wait while we try to figure out things on our end, because I do want it to be a nurturing email, like you were saying.
Yeah, are you asking me or Camilla?
Oh, either one.
Yeah,
Either one. I was just saying I was previously talking to Camilla about it, but anyone
Yeah.
can chime in.
I had
So you haven't.
Sorry, I had just suggested a few like nurture emails because you said it was about like a 2-month window where you're kind of
Mhm.
like holding off a firm decision for yes or
Right.
no for the process. And I think maybe like just keeping them in the loop. I think being open about the fact that also you have limitations to you're capped at probably a certain amount of students due to COVID. You probably have some enrollment restrictions, and just to be open about that's why. I think the more open you are about that in your emails, the more they'll understand, and they probably won't react like, oh, why are you making me wait 2 months? Like this is too long.
Exactly. Okay.
So I think if you just communicate that through like a series of non-intrusive emails, just like, oh, hello, checking in, we're seeing how you're doing, if you're still interested in hearing from us. And then, yeah, just explain about your maybe capped for enrollment on, like you said, you're waiting for your current families to see if they're going to re-enroll for the next school year. You don't have to necessarily say that. You don't have to say that you're waiting for your current families to respond, but just to be open about, we are trying to maintain a safe space for learning, and that means in this day to cap our classrooms at a certain capacity. So yeah, I don't know, Camille might also have some great advice for this one.
Yes, I welcome any and all advice.
So do you not normally have a sort of admissions calendar where you have a date where like applications should be in by this date and then notifications go out this date?
So officially, before I took on, I think we had something like that on our website, but we are on rolling admissions. So families could just apply at any time, and then we were able to give them within a week a yes or no. But because Camilla said, we do have a cap on admissions right now, and we have such a huge influx of applicants and just people who are interested in our school that we want to be more selective, right? And so we don't want to say yes or no right now because there might be something better down the road. So this is the first time for me to experience this. I just took on the role last year. And last year we just did rolling. So, you interviewed, a week later, you had your response.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is for what age do you?
We go through 9th grade.
You do?
So
okay.
18 months to 9th grade.
Okay. Because I think generally it's easier. So I'll step back.
No, I agree.
For younger ones to be able to do that, for the, the school I was at was primary through adolescent, so I had that whole range too. And to just kind of, what I was first going to say is just kind of what Camilla echo what she said, and is a note to them, an email or whatever that explains that this is not a normal year, and we obviously we give priority to our current families. I think it's fine to say that, because that makes them know that they know then if they got it, if they become a part of your school, then they're going to get priority too.
Yeah.
And just explain the situation, to be honest with them, and then do ping them every couple of weeks. It could be anything, just like news about your school or any kind of Montessori, wisdom, things like that. It's going to be a lot easier for your younger ones than your older ones, because the older children, parents definitely want to have something lined up, and you risk probably losing them, because they're going to go find a sure thing if yours is still kind of waitlist.
But I think a lot of the schools in our areas, they're in the same boat, so it is competitive in all of the schools right now, but they're all kind of in the same boat. We don't know how many spaces we have available. We can only guess until our current families say either way. So it's been a weird and tough year.
Yeah. And I think just be honest about that, and I think most people will understand. So, okay. We just, Carmina, going back to information night, what have been some topics you have shared with your community? I'm not sure. Are you talking about the parent ed, Carmina?
Yeah, so for a parent ed, we have a whole schedule that's available on Thrive that walks through what each evening you can expect to hear. Each evening we have a speaker who's going to come and talk about a certain subject. So last night we had just an overview of Montessori. So it's pretty much like the basic things that you should know, intro to Montessori, like freedom within limits, the 4 planes of development, the absorbent mind. We went over all of that yesterday. I'm sure it will come up again in our future parenting series. And then next Wednesday, we'll be talking about Nido and the toddler age group as well. We have a speaker who specializes in that age group. Following that, we're going primary, then an elementary night, and then an adolescent night. And we're finishing off with another general Montessori conversation. So we're kind of trying to cover each age group. And you are free, if you have access to Thrive, you're free to download the flyer, send it to your parents, and it has the information for all the nights and a link for them to register for the event for free. And we also have the event recordings online for you to share. And feel free to give it to prospective parents as well, because it can definitely pique their interest in Montessori.
Is that what you were asking about, Carmita? Was the parent ed meetings?
I wasn't, well, I was thinking in terms of Thrive, but also just in terms of my peers that are here, what topics they have covered this year.
I see. Is anybody?
Coming up later this month, we're doing Exploring Lower Elementary. We're offering that to our current primary families, and also we're opening it up to the community. So anyone in the community who's interested in joining our elementary program, they can come and join that. And then in February, we're also doing one for upper elementary, which is kind of just continuing that same pattern, but we're offering it to our lower elementary families, and then anyone in the community who's going to be joining our school. So that's some things that we have coming up. But in the past, we've done so many. We've done speech and language, where we had a speech and language pathologist come in and talk to our parents and any parents in the community about emergent readers and how Montessori helps them with reading and writing. We've done toilet independency. So it just depends on what we feel like parents in our community needs.
I know we've done, we did one where all the parents went through the classrooms from primary up through adolescent, and we just focused on math. So just kind of how math progresses through all the levels. We did that one night. Trying to think. We did one for our adolescent parents just about the adolescent brain. you know. I'm trying to think. I think we did one on just work of the hand through the levels, and how important that is. But these are all pre-COVID, topics
Exactly. Yeah.
back in the normal world.
What
What's
great.
nice though about us being on Zoom though is it's easier for us to record our parent educations, which we didn't do in the past, unfortunately. But now, right, we can record it and we can offer it to more families, people who couldn't make it, and prospective parents in the community.
It's a very good point. Yeah. Recording it makes it, I mean, it encourages more people to watch it because they can do it on their time for sure. Because scheduling always seems to be an issue for parents who are busy. I was going to go ahead and say, I think it was one of the schools I was speaking to, one of the administrators who said that she gave a parent ed night on screen time and how it affects different age groups, because that seems to be an issue as children are staying inside, and how it affects toddlers with their motor skill development if they have too much screen time, and also how it affects all the way up to adolescence. So that would be, I don't know, an interesting parent night. Maybe not the most uplifting one, but definitely worth knowing nowadays with how much screen time we're exposed to. So it's always an idea.
All right, Maisel, are you ready with the CRM?
Yeah. Let me just share my screen here. So this is the. Let me know if you can see my screen. Sure. Can you
Yep.
see it? All
Yeah.
right. So yeah, this is the free CRM that we offered before when we still have the first plane. So first I would like to by the way, if you can see here in the left hand side, this is the navigation panel, and not all of these features are available on your free CRM. So for free CRM, the only features or tools that are available are the opportunities, marketing, and contacts. So yeah, by the way, this CRM, what it does is that it will help you capture all of your contacts. Especially this is good for your admissions because it will capture all of your prospective parents, especially those prospective parents, families who are already looking at your website, and then you wanted to know, just like what Camille mentioned earlier, one of the the best or lead magnet for them in in the school that she's associated with was the tuition form. So if you they once they some of the schools will gate their tuition, and just to get their information, and then all of these information will be saved here in the Montessori CRM. So just for here, let me just show you the contacts. So if you go to contact smart list, here these are the list of contacts that interacted in your website. And here, just for example, Jane Green. Can you see my screen? Can you read the tags here on the right side? Okay. So here you would know if this contact, completed a general inquiry form, if they scheduled, like for example, Gary here, schedule an event for open house last August. Um, and also you can also import contacts here. Let's say if you have your existing contact list that you want to import in the Montessori CRM, you could also import it here. There is an option here on the top to import contacts, and you can also export this. Let's say if you wanted to use the CRM as, to get all of the contacts, and you have like a different tool to send emails, like for example, if you wanted to use MailChimp, you could also export contacts and then import it in your MailChimp account so that you could run the email campaign. So, and also we also have, you can also run email campaign here in our Montessori CRM, but that is not available for the free CRM. That's only available for the if you have the admission software package. Am I right, Camille?
That's right. Yep.
Mhm. So here, let me just show you what it does. So example, Jane Green. If you click this contact, here you can see 3 columns. First, in the left, this is the information of the parent or the family. So you can see the contact information, the name, email, all other information. You have the general info. So here, if you have like a form that you install the form, because in the CRM you could also create your own form. So you can we have a form builder that you can use, so you can create your own form. So if you've created a form that asks for their address or any other information, it will be saved here. And also here in the additional info, you can add custom fields. Let's say, for example, you wanted to ask a specific, if this I've created this application form for one of our schools, and there are like some other questions there were in there are like policy agreement. There are also what are the food that they can eat or they are not allowed to eat. So you could add those on the custom fields. So you can just, let's say if you've added those, you could just uh check this hide empty fields, and you would know what are the fields that they answered. Let's say here, what you're going to see is what programs are you interested in. So these are the common question that we usually ask if we for our scheduled tours and tuition for general inquiry. So here you would know that this prospective parent is interested in primary. And here in the middle, this is the conversations. So here you would see all the conversations between you in the CRM and the prospective parent. So in our complete admission software, we have this feature we call email campaign. So if, let's say, for example, if someone downloaded the tuition, they will input all their information, the email, the name, and let's say phone number. You put it as an option. So once they input all those information, they will receive a confirmation email that saying that, thank you for interest. Here is the tuition form. So they can download that through email. And then after that, you could also set up an email nurture campaign. So we put after a day, or it's up to you how you would like to set that one up. But the idea there is that after they receive the tuition request, there will be like series of emails that you will be sending to them automatically using that email campaign. So you would see all of those conversations here. And let's say, for example, that parent replied that hey, I'm interested. So if they reply to email nurture, you will also see it here in the conversations. Let me check here if we have like a contact with that replied or has conversation. So yeah, you don't have an example here, but also one feature here in the conversations is that you could also, if you want to, let's say, personally send them an email, you could send them an email here. So if you wanted to greet them or personally contact them, you could send an email here. Or also, if you want to send an SMS, you could also do it here. So it's why we want you would like to ask for their phone number as well, especially for if you want to create a scheduled tour form or the what to call this one, the tuition request form, because those are the common forms that usually parent would give their information in exchange for the tuition form, or they want to schedule a tour. And here on the right side, you would see the activity, task, notes, and appointments. So the task here is not really so robust compared to other task management software. It's just a simple task. So one task that you can put here is that you could add a task to yourself saying that if this parent will not respond to my email nurture campaign, I will call her, or call them. Activity, you would see here the activities from the prospective parent. So you would see if they visited your website, if they visited your blogs, and where did they completed the form. So let's say if they answered the general inquiry form, um, you would know here what are the links that they clicked or visited. So that is the context. By the way, do you have any questions before I go to the other
I
features
saw
of the
that there was
CRM?
like an appointment tab as well. Does this, like if you use an outside appointment scheduler, like Calendly, for example, is there a way to set it up so that it's automated with the CRM? Or is that something that you would input manually?
I'm not really sure if third-party automation or what we call Zapier can do that, but what you can do is you can import the contacts manually here. And also, if you have the full admission software package, we have our own scheduling tool here. So just like Calendly, you can see all the appointments here. Let me just show you some example because this is a free one. This is our complete admission software. And here you would see all the appointments. So you can see your calendar. So what the system can do is that you can sync your own calendar. So if you have your Google Calendar, you can sync it here. It will read all the activities in your calendar. Let's say for that week you're out for that week and you've added an out of office reminder in your calendar. So the system or the CRM can detect that, and then it will block that schedule. So prospective parents cannot schedule a tour during that week. And here you can see all appointments that they, here. So you would, let's say, for example, here, Juan Romero, he scheduled a tour. So he used his calendar. So you would see the date added and the requested time. So, and also on your end, you could reschedule this, you could cancel this, and you could also tag this as no show. Okay. So that is our this is our calendar. Did I answer your question, Kelly?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So yeah.
Just wanted to point out, I just wanted to point out
Mhm.
myself back on contacts.
Okay. Mhm.
The nice thing about it too is keeping all of those sort of communication streams in one place. So the conversation, there you can see how it looks. So the email streams, and the nice thing is like you can have, if you have 2 or 3 people who are communicating from your school to different prospective parents, everybody is on the same page. They can go see, oh, Kelly sent this email 2 days ago. I'm just going to follow up with that. Or if they reply, then you can see the thing. So it's kind of, it's a shared communication conversation stream. And the other nice thing is the texting capability in the same thread. So think about reminders that might go out for a tour. You know, you send a confirmation and then the day before the tour, you say, hey, remember you've got your tour tomorrow. And then an hour before the tour, you send them a text. Hey, you know, really looking forward to seeing you at your tour in an hour. So, so that's pretty powerful. And you can have, you know, up at the top there, it says assign to, one person can own it, but you can have it set up. I'm not sure how we have our free one set up, but for our normal one, you know, multiple people, multiple users, right, can all get in here to see your prospective parents, which I think is pretty powerful. The other thing is if you click on the right there, my salon appointments, like if you're in somebody's record here, you click on appointment and if they've got something set up, you'll see it right there as well. Okay, I'm done with
Awesome,
that.
thank you.
I guess opportunities to show.
Yep.
Show that. Yeah.
Let's go to opportunities. All right. So here in opportunities, we have by default we'll have the admissions pipeline. So for the admissions pipeline here, you have stages, but these stages you can edit it. So you can add different stages depending on what your admissions pipeline looks like. So here, this is how it will, this is how you can, use the admissions pipeline. So every time there's a new contact, let's say, for example, this one, Amber, she is a new lead. So she scheduled a tour, she completed. And let's say Amber here is a new lead from the general inquiry. So you would see her under new parent inquiry, but what you can do here is you can just drag and drop her to other stages. So let's say Amber already completed a tour. So I can just drag her to tour complete. So by doing this, you would have like a bigger, you have a one view dashboard looking all of the leads and knowing where they are right now on the pipeline. And let's say Amber already submitted their application, you could just drag her to application submitted, and then we've accepted, you could drag it here. And also you can just drag her, let's say if you lost this lead, you can just drag her to lost, or if you say you want it to, you could drag it to one. And you can add more stages here. So that's it would be easy for you to have, having this tool would really help you track your leads. Where are they right now? What do you need to do? Let's say if they already let's say Sharon here already scheduled a tour but still pending, you don't, perhaps you might want to send a personal message, or you could call her. So you could just click this and then, hey, I just wanted to follow up using an SMS or email. You could do that. So yeah, this is our opportunities. And then using the full admission software package, we could also set an automation here. So for some schools, we set up some automation wherein if they completed a tour, we will send a specific email campaign or email nurture to them that would ask them to do some other things. So those are those features. Automation is part of the complete admission software. But for the free CRM, this tool will be very helpful because it will really help you track your leads and where they are. So yeah.
I'm doing all of this on a spreadsheet right now, and I'm looking at this like, this
Mhm.
would make my life so much more easy.
Yeah, it gives you
Yeah.
such a nice visual of your admissions pipeline. If you think of opportunities, they're children, right? The prospective children. Because this tool is a general CRM that we've kind of modified for admissions. But yeah, much more functional than a spreadsheet would be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
I'm
very
in
easy
like color
to.
coding, and there's just like colors everywhere, and this just lays it out much more neatly.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Maisel, can you check, just show the form builder real quick, just so people.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
but sure, I will show. But before, I forgot to mention, you can also use tags here. Tags are like sticky notes to the contact. Let's say this, let's say here for Amber, Rizzo. These are the tags for Amber, so you would know if she already scheduled a tour, if she received the email newsletters, if and you could add more tags depending on how you would like, to add, say this parent already attended this session, so you could add tags here, so you could use those are like sticky notes. Yeah. And also let's go to form builder under marketing form builder. So in a form builder, by default we have 5 forms that we've created. So we have first the A001 is the general inquiry form. This is usually we use this in our contact us page. So here, this is the default questions: first name, last name, email, phone number, and you can add you can modify your journal inquiry form depending on how you would like to modify it. So here on the right side, these are the questions you could add. Let's say if you wanted to add an address, you could add it here. You could just drag and drop. And let's say if you wanted to add a date of birth, you could also do it here. And let's say you have a specific question that you would like to ask. So you could, go here to custom fields and you can create your own custom fields. So let's say you wanted to have a file upload. So let's say if you're asking them to send a file or something, so you can create a custom field here. And once that's created, you can just drag and drop it to the form. And you can modify, each questions. So this is our form builder for the journal inquiry. And also, you can also create a new form. Let's say you have a new event in your school and you want to create, create a, we call this one a registration form. So you could also create it here. So you could create a new form and then ask, necessary questions for that. So this is the general inquiry. The other forms that we have are the tuition request, the lead magnet, and the schedule. So yep, this is one example of the schedule form. So after they pick a schedule, or they will answer this form afterwards. So yeah. Camille, do you have I think did I miss anything here?
No, no. I just realized how late it is. We really ran over our hour, so I
Oh, sorry.
apologize.
Yep.
No,
No.
I just realized it myself. So, anyway,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that was a great overview, Maisel. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can't wait to see it on the website when it's set up.
Yeah. I think
Well, if we have one set
mhm.
up for you, maybe Maisel, you can look into that and send her a link to hers again, maybe. Log in.
Yeah. Kelly, if you could chat me your email address so I could look up on the your CRM account, so it could help you access your account.
Okay. So we only have a few on the call here left, and we are going to have a speaker next week, and I think we do have one the following week as well. And then we're going to be just alternating every other week with these type of just kind of open office hours, ask us anything kind of sessions. So hopefully, we'll evolve this to make it the most useful for everybody. If people find it helpful, always looking for your feedback. So, all right.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you everybody very much. It was nice to see everybody. Have a good rest of your week, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.